What if the greatest love story you will ever know isn't with another person? What if I told you that 87% of people, according to recent studies on societal happiness, are seeking fulfillment in all the wrong places, looking for a key that was already in their own pocket? They chase partnerships, validation, and noise, terrified of what they might find in the silence. Today, we are not just talking about living alone. We are talking about an ancient path to power that has been intentionally obscured by a world that profits from your distraction and dependency. Inspired by the profound wisdom of Shaolin Master Shi Heng Yi, we will uncover the shocking truth about what it means for a woman to be truly, powerfully, and unapologetically alone. This isn't about loneliness, this is about liberation. And it begins the moment you decide to stop looking for a counterpart and start cultivating your own completeness. Many women who find themselves living alone feel a subtle, gnawing pressure from the world around them. It's a whisper that says something is missing, that their life is an unfinished sentence waiting for a final word in the form of a partner. This feeling isn't a personal failure. It is the echo of centuries of societal conditioning that has taught us that a woman's value is intrinsically tied to her relationships. We are shown 1,000 images of happiness, and nearly all of them involve being chosen, being loved by another. The world doesn't know what to do with a woman who lives alone and isn't actively searching. It labels her as cold, unlucky, or perhaps worst of all, too independent. But here's the twist. That very independence, the quality that society finds so intimidating, is the doorway to a form of self-possession so profound it borders on sacred. The problem isn't that you are alone. The problem is that you have been taught to fear it. Shi Heng Yi teaches that we must turn our eyes inward to find our center. Yet the modern world constantly pulls our focus outward, leaving us fragmented and seeking wholeness in others. Stay with me, because what I am about to share will reframe everything you thought you knew about solitude. The constant search for a partner, the endless swiping, the polite dates that lead nowhere. These activities are not just disappointing, they are profoundly draining. They are an expenditure of your most sacred resource, your energy. A woman who lives alone without a man isn't rejecting love. She is, often unconsciously at first, rejecting the nonsense that so often parades as love. She has reached a point where her own peace has become more valuable than temporary company. She's no longer willing to shrink herself to be palatable, to silence her intuition, to keep a connection alive, or to accept hollow words when her soul craves presence. This journey often begins with a deep exhaustion, a soul-level fatigue from performing, pretending, and contorting oneself to fit into someone else's life. But wait until you see what happened next. This exhaustion is not the end. It is the beginning of the most important journey you will ever take. It is the first sign that you are being called to a higher path, a path of self-reclamation. Many feel lost in this initial stage, believing something is wrong with them. Comment yes if you've ever felt this societal pressure to not be alone. You're not by yourself in this feeling, but soon you will understand why it's a blessing in disguise. This path isn't easy. It requires you to confront your own shadows, the fear of being forgotten, the loneliness that can creep in on a quiet evening, the societal judgment that follows you like a shadow. Most people run from this discomfort. They fill the silence with endless distractions, social media, binge watching, casual connections, anything to avoid sitting with their own thoughts. And in doing so, they miss the incredible opportunity that this quiet space provides. Shi Heng Yi's philosophy reminds us that we cannot grow if we are always surrounded by noise. Confronting your fears is not a sign of weakness, it is the highest form of courage. The real secret comes at the 5-minute mark, so don't skip ahead. I'm going to reveal the first fundamental practice, inspired by Shaolin wisdom, to transform that uncomfortable silence into your most powerful training ground. This isn't just about coping, it's about transforming solitude from something you endure into something you consciously wield for your own growth. The initial discomfort is not a warning sign to retreat. It is a signal that you are on the precipice of profound change. It's the pressure that turns coal into a diamond. The first and most critical step to harnessing the power of solitude is to understand the difference between being lonely and being alone. The world uses these terms interchangeably, but they are universes apart. Loneliness is a state of lack, a painful feeling of disconnection. Being alone, however, is a state of being, a neutral fact. The transformation begins when you learn to transform the latter into solitude, which is the glorious state of being alone and at peace with oneself. Inspired by the teachings of Shi Heng Yi on self-mastery, the first micro-solution is to treat your alone time as a sacred ritual, not as empty time to be filled. Start by creating a fortress of the mind. This isn't about building walls against the world, but about cultivating an inner sanctuary of peace and order. Begin with your physical space. A cluttered home often reflects a cluttered mind. The act of cleaning and organizing your space with intention is a physical manifestation of honoring yourself and creating order within. Each chore becomes a meditation, a way of declaring that your environment, and by extension your mind, is a sacred space under your own careful protection. Now, let's go deeper. Once your physical space fosters calm, we turn to the internal. The real secret comes at the 7-minute mark. Most people miss step number 3. I'll explain why. The Shaolin approach to mental clarity starts with the body. A simple yet profound interactive prompt you can try right now. Close your eyes. Take a deep, slow breath. And just notice. Notice the tension in your jaw, your shoulders, your back. Without judgment, just observe. This is body awareness. By consciously relaxing these physical points of stress, you send a signal to your nervous system that you are safe, that you are in control. Do this for just 60 seconds. What did you notice? This practice of turning the focus inward is the cornerstone of building your inner fortress. Most people live their entire lives without ever truly checking in with their physical selves, reacting to external stimuli instead of responding from a centered place. This is option A, the reactive life driven by outside forces. Option B is the intentional life, where you consciously create your inner state. The choice between these two paths determines everything. The fortress of the mind is built brick by brick, with each conscious breath and each moment of mindful awareness. But here's the twist. Building this inner fortress has one critical vulnerability that most people don't see until it's too late. The vulnerability is a lack of discipline. Shi Heng Yi emphasizes that true freedom comes from discipline. It's not about restriction, it's about structure. Your mind, left to its own devices, will wander into anxiety, worry, and old patterns. Discipline is the structure that gives your freedom meaning. A simple, powerful way to instill this is by creating a non-negotiable morning ritual. This is our second micro-solution. It doesn't have to be elaborate. It could be 10 minutes of silent sitting, journaling 3 things you are grateful for, or drinking a cup of tea without your phone. The point is not what you do, but that you do it consistently every single day as an act of devotion to yourself. This practice teaches your mind that you are the master, not your fleeting moods or impulses. You are demonstrating through action that your commitment to your own well-being is unshakable. Many people fail here because they wait until they feel like it. But as Shi Heng Yi teaches, discipline is doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. Let me share an unexpected case study. Consider the life of a bonsai master. The master doesn't force the tree to grow, but gently and consistently guides its development with careful pruning and wiring. The tree, under this disciplined guidance, becomes a work of art, strong, balanced, and beautiful in its form. Your mind is like this tree. Without discipline, it grows wild and chaotic. With gentle, consistent discipline, you guide your thoughts and energy toward a state of inner harmony and strength. This is how you transform aloneness into powerful, intentional solitude. If you find yourself struggling with this and your mind is constantly racing with anxious thoughts when you're alone, here's a crucial troubleshooting tip. Do not fight the thoughts. Fighting them only gives them more power. Instead, observe them. Acknowledge them without judgment, like clouds passing in the sky. Label them. There is the thought of worry. There is the thought of loneliness. This practice of non-reactive observation, inspired by Zen principles, detaches you from the thoughts and allows them to lose their momentum. You are not your thoughts, you are the awareness behind them. Don't skip ahead. The game-changing tip that ties this all together comes at 11:30. The second profound truth that unfolds in a woman's journey with solitude is the recalibration of her own worth. When you are no longer seeking validation from a partner, you are forced, in the most beautiful way, to find it within yourself. This is where real, unshakable self-love is born. You stop waiting to be told you are beautiful and start seeing the beauty in your own resilience. You stop waiting for someone to make you happy and start taking responsibility for your own joy. This brings us to our third and perhaps most transformative micro-solution, the ritual of self-reliance. This goes beyond paying your own bills. It's about learning to emotionally and mentally provide for yourself. When you feel sad, instead of immediately reaching for a phone to call someone, you learn to sit with the sadness, understand it, and give yourself the comfort you need. You learn to celebrate your own wins, big or small, without needing an audience. This is the process of becoming your own source. You become the one who picks yourself up when you fall, the one who whispers words of encouragement, the one who honors your own journey without needing external applause. This is the strength that is built in silence, the kind that cannot be faked or taken away. Most people miss this crucial step because they confuse self-reliance with isolation. They are not the same. Self-reliance is about knowing you are whole on your own. A woman who cultivates this is not against love. In fact, she is now capable of entering a relationship from a place of wholeness, not neediness. Her partner becomes a complement to her life, not the center of it. She doesn't need to be completed. She is already complete. And this energy is palpable. It is the difference between a desperate grasp and an open hand. Think of it as option A versus option B. Option A, a woman who needs a relationship to feel worthy. She unconsciously seeks someone to fill her own emptiness, which often leads to codependent and draining dynamics. Option B, a woman who is whole in her solitude. Her cup is already full. She enters a relationship to share her abundance, not to take from another's. This is the kind of dynamic that is built on mutual respect and admiration, a partnership of two sovereign beings. If you find it hard to feel this sense of wholeness on your own, try this troubleshooting tip. Take yourself on a date. Go to a museum, a nice restaurant, or a walk in nature and give yourself the same presence and attention you would give a beloved partner. It may feel strange at first, but it retrains your brain to recognize that you are worthy of your own care and attention. The third shocking truth about a woman who lives alone and masters her solitude is that her perception of the world fundamentally changes. The drama and chaos that once seemed so compelling now appear transparent and unappealing. She develops a reverence not just for her physical space, but for her energetic space. She is no longer available for nonsense, for hollow conversations, for relationships that drain her peace. Her newfound strength lies in her quiet no. This brings us to the advanced practice, a key retention spike that you must understand, the energetic boundary. This is not about building walls, but about being so rooted in your own peace that anything that threatens it simply cannot find purchase. It is the quiet power of non-reaction. When someone tries to provoke you or pull you into drama, you do not engage. You observe the attempt from your center of stillness. Your silence becomes your shield. This doesn't mean you are a doormat. On the contrary, it shows that you are in complete control. You are no longer a puppet whose strings can be pulled by others' emotions. This is a superpower in the modern world. Consider this method, comparison. Method A, the confrontational boundary. This involves arguing, explaining, and defending your position. It is draining and often escalates conflict. Method B, the energetic boundary. This involves embodying a calm, unshakable presence. You state your truth simply if needed, but you do not get drawn into the emotional storm. You maintain your peace, which is the most powerful statement of all. For a woman who has cultivated her inner world, her peace is her priority. She understands that giving her energy to negativity is a price she is no longer willing to pay. This is a level of self-respect that is so profound it often makes others uncomfortable because it mirrors back to them their own lack of inner control. If you have been on this path and feel this shift, comment "peace" below. Let's acknowledge the power in this quiet revolution. What you are building is not just a peaceful life for yourself. You are becoming a beacon for others. You are demonstrating through your very existence that a woman's worth is not determined by her relationship status, but by the depth of her connection to herself. Now that you have the framework, the journey is yours to take. The path of transforming being alone into a state of powerful solitude is one of the most rewarding endeavors you can undertake. It is the foundation for a life of purpose, clarity, and deep, abiding peace. This isn't a journey you complete overnight, but one you commit to daily through small, intentional acts of self-discipline and self-love. Watch next. For a deeper dive into the practical techniques, watch our video on Mastering Your Mind, 3 Shaolin Techniques for Inner Silence. It will give you the actionable tools to cultivate the mental fortitude we've discussed today. Save this guide for the step-by-step breakdown. The journey has many stages, so save this video to your personal development playlist. Return to it whenever you need a reminder of the path and your own innate power. You can refer back to the micro solutions and troubleshooting tips anytime you feel stuck. Subscribe for part 2, where I reveal the 5 stages of a woman's spiritual awakening in solitude. We will break down the specific emotional and psychological phases you can expect on this journey, from the initial detox to the final stage of sovereign clarity. This is the advanced roadmap, and you won't want to miss it. Your path to inner freedom starts now. Embrace it.